Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Health News by Claudia podcast with me, Denny Schaffer, a production of Denny Radio. This is episode 94. And welcome once again, the hostess with the mostest. It's Claudia. Hello, Claudia. How are you doing on this fine day?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I am broadcasting from the Denny Radio studios in that's our southern studios. I'm snowbirding for the month.
Yeah.
And by the looks of the weather out there today, from what I'm hearing from family and friends, I picked the right time to be
You
south.
sure did. You're enjoying the ocean view, and we've got snow everywhere. But you know, what are you going to do? It's winter in Ohio. It is what it is. So it's a beautiful day out. Yeah. It's a beautiful day.
All right. First off, to everybody that's watching, thank you. And our numbers are growing. We appreciate that. Share this while you're watching it, or share it, after you're done watching it. Let's get the word out about this podcast because it's helping a lot of people. And the information and some of the upcoming podcasts that we have scheduled are going to be not only informative and entertaining, but it's going to help people live healthier lives. And that's really in 2026. That's the goal, to live in healthier lives.
It's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. So today, what are we talking about?
So today we're going to talk about B vitamins, why they're important. And we have so many people coming in asking us, what's the deal with methylated B vitamins? It's a question that people are, there's a lot of information coming out about methylated vitamins, and a lot of people we have a lot of customers coming in saying they read this article or listen to this podcast. They don't understand what they are. So we're going to just simplify it.
So B vitamins are very, very important in your health regimen.
Yes.
Which I do take a B vitamin, but I don't think I take a separate one. I don't know. I'll have to look because, I brought down a whole suitcase, believe it or not, a small one of all my supplements, and it's actually pretty funny. So what is the most important job of the B vitamin in my system?
Well, that's a very good question. So remember, the B vitamins, first of all, they're water soluble. They don't accumulate in the body. And there's the main B vitamins, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, you have B12. So they're all very important. Then in the big picture, they're helping many, many things. They're supporting nerve function. They're important for neurotransmitters. Some of them are helping, like B1 is helping with carbohydrate, turning carbs into energy. Some are very important for helping the cells repair, the DNA, how they work. And when we talk about something like B5 is very important it's helping to convert food into energy. It's very important for fatty acid metabolism. We use it for adrenal support because it works with the hormones. So they all have a specialty, but they work together as a family. And I always learned, going back 50 years ago, it's important to take the whole family. If you want to take separate B vitamins, first you got to have the whole family. And it's interesting because we had a doc that sent somebody in about a month ago, and this woman had very high B12 levels, which I don't know. I've seen a lot of blood work. I've never seen a high B12. I don't know why that is, but a different doc her doctor sent her in, and a different doc several years ago told her to take B12. So she's been taking B12 by itself all these years, and now it's too high. And I said to her, the only thing that comes to mind is that if you were taking a separate B vitamin all these years without taking the whole family, we were always taught it will imbalance the B vitamins. So that's, possibly what I think happened. And so anyway, just remember, it's important to take them as a family.
Okay, when you say take them as a family, are you talking about all the Bs?
So, yes.
That seems like a lot of pills.
Well, no. When I say take them as a family, I mean, a lot of people come in for a good old fashioned B complex.
Okay.
That's the family. That complex is going to have all those
everything in it.
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to get all the B vitamins in multis, of course, to different levels.
Right.
So a lot of people, like, for instance, B12, they do their multi, but then they want to take extra, whether it's B12, whether it's, B6, which a lot of people use for inflammation. It's also a natural diuretic. B6 is also very good for amino acid synthesis. I mean, all of them have something that they specialize in, but together they're important for the brain, the nerves, the liver, how the cells are utilizing lipids and all these other things. So they're very important. And most people are very deficient in them.
Which one of the B's is the most important, or is there?
I mean, I don't know how to answer that. Maybe somebody would have I have an answer to that. To me, they're all important because they're all specializing in something. But the issue, the confusion that's coming in, now a lot of people are hearing about methylated B vitamins. So they're coming in and saying, what does that mean? So when you look at, well, the one I take, and Natural Factors, we've had them on the show, great family company. This is the one I've taken for a long time, or whenever they start coming out with it. It's a great product. And some of the B's in here are methylated. So what exactly does methylated mean? I'm going to keep it very simple, because when we get into talking about things like methylation, that is a biochemical process. Everything in the human body is a biochemical process. And I don't claim to be a biochemist by any means. I have learned biochemistry over the years from brilliant researchers and biochemists that I've been blessed to know in the industry, and I'll pick their brain. But it's important to me to always understand, to have an understanding of what we're doing, because we need to, we share it with our customers. Because I always say, we're not there just to sell people a bunch of stuff. This is an interactive relationship when you're talking about people reclaiming their health. And it's important to know why you're taking something. So methylated, very simply, again, I'm not going to get into some deep dive because it's not my place to do that. But at some point, we'll have a researcher come on and we'll talk more about methylation. But methylated vitamins, in regard to the B vitamins, methylation is when there's a molecular group that it's made up of 1 carbon, 3 hydrogen. And again, I'm not going to get into a biochemical conversation because that's not my thing. But the methylation is when this particular molecule is attached to a cell to help it with its gene expression, meaning it's the switch to helping it do what it's meant to do at the cellular level. It can either switch it on or switch it off. So when you get into gene expression and, all these things, the body is, it's doing what it needs to do. And there are some nutrients that are not as bioavailable as other forms. So for instance.
All right. For instance, by the way, last time I said B12, I followed that up with bingo. There you go. I was trying to work that in. It just didn't. When you said B12, I wanted to yell bingo, but I thought that'd be kind of rude.
That's funny. You're funny.
Anyway, I'm just a cookie dude.
So
anyway,
this is a B12.
Okay, chewable.
Bluebonnet, great family company. We've had them on the show. Wonderful products. And this is a chewable B12. And you see it says methylcobalamin. Mm-hmm. So what that means is, this particular B12, it's in its most bioavailable form, because what do we know about B12? It's very difficult to uptake through the gut. That's why doctors always gave senior citizens B12 injections, because it's very hard to uptake. So when somebody comes in and we put them on B12, I like to use the products that are either a tablet that chews in the mouth and they just, swallow it that way, or we have liquids, but it makes the B12 more available. And it's interesting because we have customers, we have hundreds of customers every week. We hear all this stuff, and we have people that have been using regular B vitamins, but when they switch to something like a methylcobalamin, the B12, they over time they feel more improved energy. So not everybody can uptake everything the way it is. It needs help, and that's a biochemical process, and that's what methylation is. So does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense. So the way you know it's working is you are feeling more energy throughout your day.
Well, energy. A lot of people that have nerve stuff, they feel better when they take the B vitamins. A lot of people feel calmer. They can feel more energized. In fact, some people get so energized from the B vitamins that over the years, so many people have told me they took a B complex when they were going to bed and it kept them awake all night.
Oh.
So I always tell people, do the B, not that that's going to happen with everybody, but again, you know, I always say we're a research environment at the store. We're hearing from hundreds of people every week. And this feedback is very, very important to me. And I tell everybody, we want the feedback. That's how we learn. That's how we understand it. So so anyway, the B vitamins are very important for the brain health, neurotransmitters, for the nerves, for energy. They can help.
Do you take it on an empty stomach, first thing in the morning? Take it with food? When do you take a B?
No, you can take a B complex anytime because they're water soluble. It's really the fat soluble nutrients, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, CoQ10. It's best to take them with food so they can transport better with that food substrate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Are there any contraindications with the B vitamin?
I've never in 52 years have had anyone, a doc, a researcher, anyone ever say there's a contraindication. So I would say no, but you know, to my experience, I've never seen that.
I like asking that question because it makes me feel like I have a clue. So Claudia, are there any contraindications with other drugs of the B complex vitamin?
Yeah. And it's interesting. I don't know of any contraindications with any supplements and B vitamins. I mean, they're all working together. That's why in a multiple, we just did an episode on taking multiples, right?
Yep.
All multiples are going to have the B vitamins, C, E, A, D, minerals. So they're all in there. But as far as contraindications to meds, I'm not aware of any. Now, some docs, so I'm going to talk about niacin for a minute.
Okay. Let's go niacin.
Yeah, niacin, which is B3. Niacin, there's a lot of research over the years that has shown that niacin supports, it can help bring up HDLs. Mm-hmm. It can help reduce LDLs, and it can help reduce triglycerides. So because of that, I know a couple docs that tell patients don't do a B vitamin if they're on a statin. I personally don't agree with that. But when a doctor sends someone in, we respect what they're saying. Mm-hmm. And if there's something that we can share with them educationally to show them, you know, that they may want to reconsider something, then we show them. But some docs, a couple docs have over the years told people not to take niacin with statins. So, but niacin has been shown to help with cholesterol levels. So now that said, niacin is an interesting B vitamin. Remember, we just did an episode. It was when we did mitochondrial health, and we talked about the niacin causing a flush. And you said, wait a minute, what's the
flush?
So,
that threw me.
There's two types of niacin. Here's niacin.
Okay.
And then there's flush free. So what does that mean? So niacin in its natural form, we've used it. In fact, the health food store I always talk about, Pat and Joe, I always talk about growing up in that store from the time I was 16, learning amazing things. They used to there weren't a lot of flush frees back then, I don't think, but they always taught that the flush was important because it has a purpose. So what we know about, so the flush is created, niacin has the ability to dilate the capillary function. And when it does that, it brings the blood flow to the surface of the skin. And people, a flush can cause redness, itchiness, you get hot, you feel like you have a sunburn. It might last 10 minutes. It might last 20 minutes. Everyone is very different. But what that flush is doing, it's allowing histamines to come out of the body. So what are histamines? Histamines are natural occurring in the cell from cell production, but a lot of people have higher levels of histamines when they're dealing with allergy type stuff. So somebody is exposed to something, a plant in the environment, like a dandelion, whatever it might be. They might get a reaction, or they're eating something like too much dairy or too much whatever, they'll get a reaction. That's a histamine reaction. It's a response from the immune system. And the immune system's trying to do something to help the body deal with whatever irritated it. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
So when people go to a drugstore and they get an antihistamine, it works very differently than how niacin is working. So with niacin, it's giving the body the opportunity to release those histamines out of the blood. We have customers that have been taking niacin over the years for the last 40 some years. I mean, I've taken it over the years, many years. In fact, I'm just getting ready to start it up again. We always start with straight up niacin. I always encourage people start with a low dose, because the first time you take it, you don't know what that flush will be.
Right. And the bottle you showed, though, was 500 milligrams. And that doesn't sound low.
Well, it isn't. In fact, I meant to bring it, but I forgot. Carlson makes which is another, these are all the companies that we've had on, family owned, great integrity, making quality products. Carlson makes a 50 milligram niacin. And if I'm working with someone new and I don't know their health history yet or how they respond to things, I actually have them take that 50 milligram and cut it in half.
Oh, wow.
And we work them up. So you never know at what milligram amount somebody is going to get this flush, this histamine release. I consider it to be very important because of all the, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people I've witnessed take niacin over the years. It's helped a lot of people. But it's like everything, when we talk about nutrition, these things have to be done with knowledge and responsibly. I remember years ago when I worked at Bassett, so we're going back 40 some years, there was a guy that was taking niacin, and he gave a high dose to his buddy because he thought the flush was funny. Yeah. Well, the guy had years and years of allergies.
Oh, boy.
I mean, he gave him a really high dose, like 1,000 or 1,500. No one should ever do that. Right. And the guy, he had so many histamines because he was loaded with allergies his whole life. He ended up sick. The body was overwhelmed trying to get it out. So that's why you always hear me say, start low with everything. Start low, work up. Because the whole point is for people to understand their own body. We're teaching people, embrace your own health. You have to, in order to understand these products, you also have to understand how your body works. That's why we do what we do, right? We're keeping it simple. So it makes sense to people. So we always start very low and we work up. So I have a lot of people that every day take a 500 milligram, but they've been doing it for a long time. So you start low, you take it. I usually have people take it with food for the first time to see, are they going to get a flush or not? They might get a little flush. Next time I have them do it on an empty stomach. That's how I was taught by Dr. Chappell, who is a brilliant, wonderful man. He was an MD, knew him. I was blessed to know him for 50 years. He was one of the first, probably one of the original, what doctors now that are getting into nutrition are calling themselves functional doctors. He was a functional doc 50 some years ago. And he always taught me, have somebody start with a little food, see what kind of response they get. And if it's, if it's little or a lot, if it's a little, then have them take it on an empty stomach and see what kind of response they have. And you work it up slowly.
So typically, if I took one of those at 25 milligrams, would it be an hour, 2 hours before I feel anything, or is everybody different?
Everyone's very different. Everyone is very different according to their immune response, how they're eating, and if somebody's on a lot of meds, I don't personally do niacin for them to get the flush. To take a B complex, I'm comfortable with that, but not to do the flush. So, you have to be, a lot of people are on so many meds. I mean, it's very sad to me.
I know.
We have people that are coming in. I think I mentioned this last week or something. We had a 13-year-old that was on 6 different very heavy meds. I mean, we're seeing elderly people on 18, 20 meds. I personally think that that's very wrong. I think it's very sad for the person, because now that individual is dealing with the adverse reactions of all those meds and how they're hitting each other. But anyway, that's for another story, I guess.
I'm on a text thread with 12 of my buddies that I graduated in high school back in the 70s. So we're all in our 60s. I'm the only one who's not on prescription meds. I'm the only one. And they're like, how do you do that, Schaffer? I'm like, well, let me tell you about my friend Claudia. And then I tell them about the podcast. And I say, look, I am blessed to know her and to live in Toledo, where I can come in to, Health Food by Claudia, and I can get educated, and I can do it the right way and do it slowly. And there's just not a lot of places like you that you have. Like, what a great opportunity that is for people.
Thank you.
And it's the education that sets you apart.
Yes.
Because you can't just walk into a place and there's shelves. You have no idea what any of it's going to do. But when you walk in to see you and your team, it's like everybody is so knowledgeable, and it's awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But you know what? Like anything, we work at it.
Yeah.
Just like people that want to embrace their health, they have to work at it. It's not just going to happen out of nowhere. It's the commitment. So we are committed to the education. We do a lot. I mean, I know so many people in the industry, they come in, they do classes to the team. Many times we have classes for the public. We have private classes. I call these guys. I pick their brains. I pass it on to the team. I mean, we've been many, many years actively daily studying our craft, because that's what it is. It's a skill.
Yeah, it is.
It's a skill. Just like doctors go to med school, they learn. We've been, those weirdos hanging out in health food stores all these years and learning through the thousands and thousands of people that we have been blessed to work with. So, all
right. What else do you have, Claudia, as we're starting to run out of time?
Well, that was it. I showed you the methylcobalamin. That's a methylated form of B12, wonderful form. Lots of people are at a 5,000 microgram, which is what I brought.
Okay.
And again, it doesn't uptake well through the stomach. So to do it sublingually is very good. So a lot of people end up at a 5,000. I brought a methylated folate. Now this is folate is very, very important, of course, for developing pregnant moms and how the baby develops. That's why years ago, they found Western medicine figured out you got to have folic acid. Well, for years, it was folic acid, which is a synthesized form. Methylfolate is the methylated form that's more bioavailable, easier for the body to uptake. So a lot of people I just want to say this, a lot of people are finding that they have this genetic mutation, MTHFR. Every week we have a dozen people coming in saying, oh my God, I was told I have MTHFR. It's a mutation in the gene. And when we talk about why is methylated forms important, because that methyl group is helping to direct the cell properly. It's the switch that's helping the cell do what it's meant to do. And remember, at a cellular level, the B vitamins, they're helping with toxins, they're supporting the brain, the nervous system, the liver. They're very important in many things. So this is a methylfolate. This is an 800 microgram. This is a chewable. A lot of people love these two chewables. But we have methylfolate in higher levels. But I usually start, about 800 microgram. You can get higher, but we start low, work up. So that was it. This is I just wanted to show this product. We have a lot of
I have that. I enjoy that.
This one?
Yep, the B12.
Yeah. This is by now, again, great product, great company. And we have a lot of seniors that, they're either doing the chewables or a lot of them like the powder. Not that you're a senior or anything,
But I am, and I have both. So what does that tell you?
So this goes in the water. It's a great product. And a lot of people will take it and tell me they love this product. They get energy from it. So it's a nice product to consider.
Yeah. What's the name of that product again?
This is the Instant Energy B12.
Bingo.
You just couldn't wait to get that in, could you?
I had to. I didn't do it right the first time.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, that's awesome stuff. Before we go, I just want to tell everybody that it's very important that you share the podcast, okay? Put this out to all your social media. That way we can help reach more people and educate more people and change more people's, health regimen, get them feeling better, get them off prescription meds if that's possible. Yeah. So very, very important to share the podcast.
Yes.
All right, Claudia, just like always, I give you the last word.
Well, thank you, Denny. I always remind everybody, we never tell anyone to stop their meds, ever. That's between them and their doc. But it's fair to say many people over the years have said to me, well, if I knew I had an option to the med, I would have taken the option. But everyone's been taught pharmaceuticals. I mean, pharma did a great job of advertising their products. And now, of course, you have a lot of people, they want all the pharmaceutical ads off the TV. People are getting tired of all these commercials. And I have doctors that wish that they would take them off too, because people watch these ads and then they come in and say, I want that drug, even though, they all have terrible side effects. So the point is, we never tell anyone to stop their meds. It's not our place. But we're always here to educate. And remember, the education, I'm grateful to have the hands-on experience. I am very grateful to have, I always say, those of us in health food stores, we've been in the trenches, man. We've been right in the forefront of nutrients. Because remember, years ago, Western medicine didn't want anything to do with nutrition. They scoffed at it. They ridiculed it. They, called people names that were taking it. We still see that happening. But in the big picture, nutrition is a beautiful way to go. It's what the body is designed to utilize. So learning these things and how you can help. Remember, nutrition assists the body. Meds overpower it. And we want to help assist, because the more people that feel better, how wonderful that would be. Because I always say, raise your hand if you want to be sick, and nobody ever raises their hand. But there's millions of people that are not feeling well. So education in simple doses, integrate them into your life. I always say, do it in baby steps and stick with it. Get it in your heart, stick with it, walk it every day. You'll be so happy that you did. So very happy. We just had a guy that he's been working with us, and I know his doc, and his doc, is willing to work together. And when he came to us, he was on 12 meds, and now he's down to 1. And we did that as a team, and I'm very proud of that. So pharma might not like it because they're missing dollars. But, a lot of people are getting tired of the revolving door. And people that work in that system, many of them are getting tired of that constant sickness. So it's, a lot of good things are happening. And I always tell people, keep the faith and see the blessings right before us and find the goodness that's happening in the world, because it's out there. So anyway, that's what I have to say. So, were you going to say something?
No, I'm waiting for you to do that. And then
anyway, Denny and I appreciate you guys. We're very grateful to be doing this. We're grateful you're tuning in. Thank you for helping us grow. It's a very cool thing. And keep the faith. Peace.